Welcome to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Okay, so thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 16 minutes past 9 a.m. and we are saying welcome to today's program, The Polity, on the seriously authentic radio station transmitting from Onitsha, Anambra State. So we are saying welcome to The Polity, a Monday edition, this 11th day of May 2026. And what we do on The Polity is that will bring you all the political developments in the country, the way they're captured by various newspapers we have in Nigeria. And as usual, we normally profile 5 newspapers and then take our talking point from the big stories. So this very morning is only going to be different, and we urge you to stay with us as we begin this very morning's program. My name is Frank Nebuka, and on the analysis desk is Tony Sambeki. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra. Good morning, Indonesia. Donidu. Good morning, the Osumo. Good morning, Ndafia, Ndolwaka, Ndoloyibo, Ndinkuzi. Our farmers, our pensioners, our senior citizens, everyone under the reach of our voice. We have converged again in our sanctuary, right here in the altar of the Most High, to profess the truth and nothing but the truth. And we thank God Almighty for a day like this. Today is the 11th day in the month of May in the year 2026. Another day. You know, I've said it many times that each day is a miracle. Miracle of waking up. Miracle of being alive. Miracle of seeing the new day. It is not easy. And we thank God Almighty for this. And we keep thanking Him. We keep glorifying His name. And we say honor, glory, adoration be unto His name. Aside from that, a lot of things has happened in the polity, and probably we're going to look at that. Of course, we saw what happened in Oka. I don't know, Franklin, if you are aware where the governor said he will be going after fake pastors. You know, many people have put forward fake pastors and their activities. He said some of them are already in custody. And even when we are not even aware of that, said some of them are already in the custody. That if you must perform miracle, come to Amako Teaching Hospital. There are so many miracles that people over there are expecting. They're expecting miracles. Not the one you will do arrange, you know, that kind of one. And saying that there will be more monitoring. But some will say, are you not coming too hard on these religious worshippers? Remember the traditional worshippers? Remember their okite and other things that happened around their own enclave. As it goes here, it will also go the other way. So there are a lot of things, just like we said earlier on, that have also happened. So we're going to look at them from time to time. And we wish you safe listening. Sit back and enjoy the program.
Okay, so just tip of the iceberg, what we're going to have today on today's program. Now that you mentioned Anambra State, talking about what the governor said when he went for the event organized by the Knights of the Catholic Community in Oka, Anambra State on Sunday. He said a couple of things, and a few of them have been out there in the media, which we're going to highlight later. Then yesterday, the Nigerian Medical Association, Anambra State chapter, confirmed the should I call it a rescue of the medical director of Crown Multi Specialist Hospital, or Dr. Edwin. We can recall that last week, that was on May 7th, there was a report that he was abducted right inside the premises of the hospital. But now he has regained his freedom and he has reunited with his family. But what is trending now on social media is the place where he was supposedly kept after he was arrested. They said the place is somewhere around Obosi Junction, and the house has been set on fire. I saw the video this very morning. So Tony, this kind of incident that it's been a long time we heard about in Anambra State, and it surfaced last week. But the good thing is that the man has been rescued.
Well, I got his story, and we're talking about Crown Hospital, if I am correct, because we are told that the chief medical director of that very hospital was abducted by gunmen. They were dressing those people were in police camouflage and also army camouflage. They drove in, stayed sometimes in that very hospital, and immediately they spotted him going around doing his ward round. They bundled him into the waiting vehicle and off they drove. And alarm was raised by the Nigerian Medical Association and Anambra State chapter over such incident. Of course, they threatened to embark on strike over such incident. Of course, this is not the first time we've witnessed something like that, but each time that had happened, they were actually rescued. Unless the one of Enugu State, where the doctor was later murdered, but that one happened in Enugu State. But nevertheless, the good thing is the medical doctor Emega Ko, if I get the name correct, has been rescued or released by the abductors. That's the most important thing, and he was unharmed. Every other thing that follows, we know very well that it wouldn't be so nice to hear other things that surround this incident. But the intriguing part of this was the fact that those men that came to that Crown Hospital to abduct the owner, they were dressed in military camouflage. That's why nobody suspected them. Even police camouflage. In fact, the way he was bundled inside the car was what gave the people the thoughts and suspicion that these could be kidnappers. If they had accosted him gently, people may have thought that they were security men. And it tells you the level of these guys. Some of these abductors and kidnappers could take in a way to effect whatever they want to do. It's very disturbing. Thank God that has been taken care of. And we also thank those who played a key role to ensure his release. But maybe we'll get to hear more details about this release. But we thank those that why this happened. Yes, you can call it an isolation or one-off. But we would pray that it never happened at all. We would pray that it never happened at all. Of course, that man has been a kind of a blessing to some people, especially those around that area, Crown Hospital. But the point is, he has been taken care of, and we thank God he's alive.
Okay, so like I mentioned, that if you see the video of that very building where he was supposedly kept, it's a well-built building, well-furnished, and from the report out there, it even has a CCTV. And from that report too, he wasn't the only one rescued from that very building. Rather, 3 other persons we also
rescued. And let's get to
rescued.
know who rescued them. It's important.
From the report we gathered, they said it was the effort of policemen who did that, special operatives who were on that very operation. Then, what we can now ask question about is if we have this very system that is working for criminals, where they have found a way to disguise in police uniform or in army camouflage, how do we now get around this thing? Because from what we know now, it seems like the practice is like you can go to the open market and get police uniform, or get the fabric and even the army camouflage. Like, that is the system. So why can't we be thinking about if there's a need for us to centralize this, whereby there can only be one source for this story?
Well, it will be very difficult when you talk about one source to obtaining police uniform or what they call police accessory. It will be very difficult, even when they try to regulate it. I think the much they have done is to regulate the sale and production. But you can imagine that the clothes they wear varies in quality, varies in colors and all that. You can even sew it when you know that it's something that can be sold. When you talk about the military uniform, it's something that can be sold. There are tailors that can put that up, and if they put that up, it's not something you go and buy from the market. It's not a kind of ready-made material or work. It's not something you can regulate, no matter how you try to regulate it. So it is easy for people to get tailors, sew those clothes for them, and they use it the way they want to use it. It's very embarrassing. And even during the time we had, the tempestuous time, when there was brigandage in Southeast, police stations were set ablaze. There was arms uprising and so many things. There were those that invaded these police stations and took over the guns, took over the uniforms. And there were some of these elements that were apprehended, and you can see them put on these uniforms bearing another person's name. That's also that it was one of the stuffs they took up from when these invasions happened. We have not recovered fully from the invasions we saw during those periods, and it's made a lot of police arms to be in their hands, and they have caused havoc, they have caused chaos, they have caused problems, because they want to use it for one thing: to steal, to maim, to kidnap, and to also murder. And there's no more they can use it outside these things. They will use it for pure criminality. The point is, there have been efforts to recover some of these things, but the truth is that there are times we can regulate to an extent some of the proliferations of these clothes and make those who handle these things, they tell us, to also see the other side of the law. We can do that. But the truth remains that it will be very difficult because we lack the capacity to get that done.
Okay, so we are going to go to the papers to tell you the stories that are captured on those papers this very morning. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so you're listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 4.7 FM. It's 9:28 a.m. My name is Franklin Ebuka, and we're going to go to the papers now to bring you the stories making the headlines. Four newspapers for review this very morning: The Guardian, Vanguard, Daily Sun, and the Punch newspapers. We'll begin with the headlines we have on the Guardian. And big story there says power crisis defies 300% tariff hike as consumers pay more for less. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Another story here says Fubara keeps mum on a re-election drama as APC screens candidates on page 3. Civilians feared dead in fresh airstrike targeting bandits in Niger on page 3. Aviators seek incentive for ground handling firms over 9 billion naira airline debt on page 4. Huriwa fault anti-graft agencies trial of politicians authors on page 4. Obi predicts credible poll as Hashim faults INEC timetable ahead of 2027. That story can be found on page 6. NBA decries conflicting judgment as threat to rule of law on page 4. You can see the picture of NBA president Afamo Sigwe. And then there are other picture stories on the front page you can as well check out. Okay, so we get to the next paper, which is Vanguard newspaper. And the big story there says 2027 presidency, Jonathan's declaration sparks stir on page 5. It has some riders, northern groups jostle to buy nomination form for ex-president. He must have weighed his chances. Afenifere, stay away from today's dirty politics. MBF advises Jonathan. Jonathan's return may overheat Polity. It will be catastrophic misadventure if Jonathan runs Okorie. And let's look at the story on page 11. It's quite an interesting one. Breweries defy economic hardship, record sharp rise in revenue. While everybody's complaining that the country is hard, this is hard, but breweries are making more money because Nigerians can't afford not to drink. So that's the irony of it. Then petroleum energy ramps up Dawes Island production by 2,800 BPD on page 20. Okay, that's page 37. Hijet A1 prize, aircraft pilot, engineers worry over flight safety jobs on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper. Then you can see the picture story there. Okay, so from there we have to cross over to other paper. The picture story is about bilateral relations between Nigeria and other countries. And then over to Daily Sun. Daily Sun has some headlines. The big one says tension in APC, ADC, NDC, PDP as membership list submission ends. Zone presidency to South. Fasting action on state police. Middle Belt Forum advices on page 27. You can also see the story on page 6. Top banks slash loans by 25% amid rising risk. CBN to examine lending slowdown at MPC meeting. Experts urge softer regulatory rules. That story is on the front page of Daily Sun. Then the headline beside the nameplate says escalating vandalism, diesel theft threaten 3 trillion naira telecom asset. MTN spends 888 million naira on security in first quarter. That story is on page 25. NDC zeroes in on Obi Kwankwaso ticket. Jonathan quits race. Worries over lingering legal tussle on eligibility on page 6. Gunmen kill police, 14 others abduct 5 in Plateau communities on page 4. IPAB holds Biafra Heroes Remembrance Day, May 30 on page 29. JAM stakeholders to decide 2026 admission guidelines today on page 28 of Daily Sun. And the last paper we have here is Punch newspaper. The big story says state capital spending plunges 58% as 2027 politics intensifies on page 2, with riders capital projects suffer after Lagos, Bayelsa, Enugu, others spending drop. Okay, capital projects suffer after Lagos, Bayelsa, Enugu, other spending drops by 2.2 trillion naira. Spending cut may worsen poverty, unemployment, economist. Fiscal pressure deepens as 13 states borrow fresh 362 billion naira. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. This one says first holdco seeks shareholders approval on 1 trillion naira capital base in bond balance sheet fortification. Beside the nameplate, you will see the picture from Wike and Governor Fubaras Minalai. And the story says 2027 Rivers Governorship dramas APC committee screens Fubara Wike allies on page 2. Vehicle import jumps 67% in 3 months on page 38. 3,715 PHCs inactive in 19 states and FCT on page 8. This one says deepening security, counter-terrorism and bilateral relations with the United States. You see the picture of Nuhu Rabadu and U.S. official. They are on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Then the last story here says INEC deadline, opposition parties rush to submit membership register. That story is on page 42 of the Punch newspaper. So we're going to begin our analysis in a moment.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you once more for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Ebukan. Just to remind you that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that very page. Drop your comment there. Please also help us to share the post, like the page, and follow. We are also live on our Instagram and the YouTube channels, Udala Radio. And for YouTube, please do subscribe so that each time we post a video or each time we are live, you are going to get notification and be able to follow. So, Tony, you mentioned the event that the governor of Anambra State attended in Oka on Sunday. That was yesterday. It held at the St. Patrick Cathedral, Oka. It was the all-night day of the Catholic Diocese of Oka. And during that very program, he spoke inside the church. The video is already trending on social media. And he said that the government has commenced a crackdown on fake pastors and prophets who are performing miracles in the state. And he challenged pastors and prophets who claim to be genuine, to visit a miracle hospital for them to perform that miracle, because according to the governor, those there need that very miracle. But what people do not know very much about is, when did that crackdown start? Because governor said that some of them are already in custody, whereas there are people who are out there on social media asking the government to zero in on the Anglican priest who was suspended by the diocese because he was alleged to have got involved in arranged prophecies and manipulations. Tony.
Well, we have to be very honest, and we have just said that the law itself is blind. It does not know the rich, nor does it know the poor, or does it know the high, or does it know the low. So what is applicable to the high is also applicable to the low. That is what we call rule of law, because these are cardinal principles of rule of law. Equality before the law, and the law must be supreme to every being, the supremacy of law, and other things as was espoused by the proponents of rule of law. Coming back to the issue in quotes, we know very well that's what we call Anambra Homeland Security Law, and that Homeland Security Law was the law used in trying likes of Kotiwarake and even Eke Hit and Momiri Sinafulianya, and even other persons we have seen in the custody that have been tried. And we know very well that Section 18 in particular of that very law comes out so clear, very vivid, is not ambiguous. And that very law in quotes made it known to everybody that anybody who does things like what we've seen so far is culpable based on conviction, either 20 million or about 6 years imprisonment, if I can really cite that very law very well, or cite the very portion. It's imperative that some people have been asking what has been going on. Probably the Anglican priest. It was not announced that he is in the custody, but the governor said there are some of them in the custody already. But I know that the public would like their case to be treated the way that of Kwokoko and other people I mentioned, the way they were paraded, the way they were arrested, the way they were taken into custody. Many would want such scenario so that it will be equal and transparent. My concern is, we've seen deception at its highest place in our homeland. It didn't start today. Just like I was saying, because the governor was saying that it was part of the broader plan to ensure that the state is cleared of deception and social vices.
So Tony, that statement the governor made, was it a political statement or something genuine? Because so many people have been on social media asking the governor or asking the state government, whether through the governor or whether through a governor chamber, to wade in and arrest the said priest. Government kept on. Nobody said anything. Whether he was arrested or not, nobody know. But the governor was at an event yesterday. He said government has commenced, crackdown on fake pastors who are doing fake miracle, and he said many of them are in the custody. Nobody was mentioned.
Yes. Let me quickly, maybe my own personal interpretation. Remember, Anglican diocese first took step. They suspended him, and I thought that they would be the one that will hand him over to security operatives for proper prosecution.
Should they? Because other people who were arrested, those from the other side who were arrested, nobody handed them over to the government.
Because they don't have association, they don't have congregation, they don't have union.
No, they have.
Let me ask you.
They have.
I have not seen one. Tell me one.
Over the weekend, they even had a meeting.
No.
To the point that they even donated vehicles that are going to help them in fighting crimes.
Let me be very straightforward. I stand to be corrected. I have not seen them. You may be talking about social club. Maybe they belong to a club.
No, it's not club.
Franklin, please help me with the name of the association
Okay.
of the. And probably
I will tell you that.
Yes, while we go on, probably I would like to know too. Now I'm also asking, because the people arrested, how sure are you that they are members of that association? Would you say that Akwokoko is member of the association? Or would you say Ekehit is member of that association? You wouldn't know whether these people who are already in custody are members of the association. You remember, if a policeman or if a priest or if anybody, any association that is reputable, where each member goes on to do things that are unethical, what the association does is to first discipline him and hand him over to law enforcement agents.
Is that the way it happens in every situation? Because we know that. Okay, let's assume.
Okay.
For EFCC, in some cases, or even in most cases, people write petition against people for EFCC to intervene. Then EFCC moves in, and we've seen cases whereby people are accused of one thing or the other. Nobody hands them over. Rather, what happens is that somebody writes petition to the relevant authorities and they move it.
Fine. Now the question is, did anybody write petition on the case of this man? But apart from petition, naturally, because how we got to know this was because the Anglican diocese on the Niger did their findings. There were reports, there were those who speculated that he was doing arranging. Even in one of the videos I watched last, he was saying that there are those who are peddling this notion that he was doing arranging. What is arranging? What I'm doing, that he was passing by. So the man even knew that people were peddling that he was doing arranging, and he was questioning the propriety, he was questioning the rationality, how those people got to know that he was doing arranging when it was purely baseless. It was his quotes, but it was later discovered that he was actually. So what Anglican diocese did was to do internal autopsy, and they did their audit and got to know he was actually into it, because he confessed to it when he was shown evidence, not one, when he was shown many evidence, he accepted and confessed to the crime. But the point is, yes, people would have wanted him to be paraded, arrested, the way Amana, Akwokoko and Ekehit were arrested. But the point remains, nobody knows where he is. Yesterday, Governor told us that some pastors, not just one, are already in the custody. But what people want is they want them to be arrested the way Amana, the fake Dibias and fake Okite people were arrested. And the law is very, very clear on that. I have quoted section 18 of the Anambra State Homeland Security Law of 2025. That very section, subsection 118, subsection 1 talks about Okite and wine, or under any other guise, administers any substance or sham on or for any other person for the purpose of commission of an offense, for the purpose of accumulation of wealth by supernatural means other than by non-lawful means of livelihood, and those who publicly propagate the accumulation of such wealth publicly. I want you to know that those who publicly propagates the accumulation of such wealth other than by any lawful means, you see where pastors are involved, those pastors that preach prosperity, that if you sow seed, God will multiply it. Our God is not a gambler, where you will put one, he doubles it. Where you will put two, he multiplies it. God is not a gambler. So if you propagate such gospel under this law, you also involve, and the law says 6 years imprisonment or a fine of 20 million.
Okay, so I talked about the association of native doctors we have in Anambra State.
Yes.
So there's one called the Anambra State Native Doctors and Herbal Medicine Association.
Okay.
And I told you that over the weekend they had a meeting at Iboaku, which is in Ayame local government area. During that very meeting, they presented vehicles to a task force team in the 3 senatorial district we have in Anambra State. And the essence of the vehicles is to help in the monitoring and the enforcement of the Anambra's homeland security law, and to ensure that they get this very law implemented and enforced across all the nooks and crannies of Anambra State.
Well, just like you mentioned, because when we talk about native doctor, what comes to our mind is usually the negative one. They are good native doctors. Why are they called native doctors? The word native is that they do it using our menana. And what they do is to cure sickness, diseases, ailments, using local means, not orthodox, or not the one that is conventional. And if you look around, I have said it many times, that native doctor, of course, is an umbrella body. Because if you call it, if in Igbo, they have different names. There are different types of native doctor. And we dibia na wafa. We dibia obo mborogu na mpa akwukwo. That's another native doctor.
So all of them are under this very umbrella.
Of course, you have dibia na agwara, the one that cures madness. You also have the rain doctors. Ndana Hamiri. You know, these people that break down rings, and these people that during burial they use their local stuff to bring down rain. Even when I know in reality, because I've done my research on that, what I found from my research points negative, that those things are neither here nor there. But that's, by the way, it's another for another day. Where Dibia, Fondam, Dibia, Amusu, and all that. So there are different types of Dibia. Dibia is just that collective name. When they come under such association, they are not coming from Okite angle, because there's nothing like Okite. Okite is anything. Okite is fake. It's not part of the tradition. It's not part of our Ordinana. It's one of the ways of propagating wealth. And is, I don't know, those people you mentioned, that association, of course, you have to, herbalist. Like I said in them, they have come. I know about this association. I was thinking maybe you are talking about all these and wine.
No, this very association,
because SNY is not involved in that one.
No, they are involved. This association has both male and female. As long as you are in the practice of native doctor and the herbal medicine practitioner, of course, it covers it. Now, there's another part of what the governor said during that very event in Oka. He talked about the state government, nursing ambition or nursing an intention to restrict burials to certain days. And the question is, was this well thought about, knowing that in Igbo setting, most times when people want to fix the burial, there's a way they calculate out. They go about doing the calculation. They consider the market days in their communities, knowing that so most of the times these calculations are done, and they also go to the church to get the date convenient to the church and also convenient to the family. So this issue of nursing a plan to restrict burial ceremonies to certain days, how workable is this?
Well, for me, we have burial law already in Anambra State, and part of that burial law I've seen that substantially not complied to, and it was one of the laws under Governor Willie Obiano that regulates burial activities, especially where people sell lands, sell buildings, sell property for them to bury their loved one. And the government under Willie Obiano felt that it was unethical, it was irrational, and that was how they came up with Anambra State burial law. But the burial law did not stipulate the date. Probably the governor may be talking about amending the law, amending Anambra State burial law. Well, you mentioned that, yes, it could be because some communities do look into after this, after that, but I will tell you that is not the case, because I've seen most burials usually comes up, depending on the town, around Thursday, Friday. When we are growing up, burials used to be on Saturdays when we were growing up, but over time we've seen changes, and these changes are anchored on different notions, not necessarily because of the market. Because you tell me why a community will be having burial every Thursday. Does it mean that every Thursday will become Nkwo or every Thursday will become Eke? Because these things are not steady. the Eke or the Afia in their community changes. So it's not a case of Nkwo or Eke. It's a case where it was anchored by either the church, and there are communities that also have their own on Mondays. I've seen communities in Anambra State that have their own on Mondays. Why these things affect general living is because there are those who will be at work. They will be forced to close work for burial. There are those who will be in school. I've seen a student who missed exam because the burial date fell on Friday, and that Friday he was to have an exam, and it happened that the person that was to be buried was his father. He chose to bury his father as against taking the exam. Many people said your father had died, so why don't you take your exam as against burying your father? It affected such a student. But if that burial had been on Saturday, exam couldn't have held on Saturday because schools are shut on Saturday.
So Tony, the issue of the date people choose to bury the dead ones, is it a problem that needs government intervention in Anambra State?
Well, I wouldn't say whether it is a problem that needs intervention or not. I wouldn't say it is, or I wouldn't say it is not. But what I know is there are people that have been affected, and I have just cited one example. I've just cited one. And there could be many, so many students that are in school during burial, where burial falls within the weekdays. It affects students, if it affects workers, it affects a lot of people. But those it may not really affect will be traders, businessmen, because they own their shops. They can decide to close any day and go for burial. But situation where it comes on Saturday, at least it will not affect students and those in the civil service. It will not affect them. They will know how to manage that. And these are the people I've spotted that they are affected. But whether such becomes a problem to the level that government intervenes, maybe or maybe not. So the point I'm trying to make is this: we should have uniformity anyway. I have always cared for uniformity. Let's have a way of doing things. At the end of the day, we'll be disorganized. For me, there is need for uniformity. I call it on Saturday. Just like I said, when we were growing up, it used to be Saturdays. But over time, as a result of a lot of things, it changed. I remember when mourning used to be 1 year. If your father or your wife or your sister, if the person dies, you have to mourn the person for 1 year. But over the church has been the one behind these changes. The church said no, 1 year is too much. They brought it down to 6 months during synods, because some people will voice it out. Because when you think these things are no problem to people, come to synod of different churches. During synods, you will see them voice out some of these things. From 1 year, they brought it down to 6 months. There are those that are saying 6 months is too much too, that it should be brought down to 3 months. And there are those that are of the view that wake up and all night. And there are so many things that people voice their concerns during synods. But you know, when they do those things, the church will enforce it. And especially when you know you have different denominations. Anglican may be doing their own, Catholic may be doing their own, Methodist may be doing their own. But if government comes, everything becomes united, because the only way to unite all these denominations will be government intervention.
So is there any known precedent to this, either nationally or internationally, where burial ceremonies are restricted to a particular day in a week?
Well, for me, I wouldn't cite any. But if people decide that it should be this, you ask, why don't we have burials on Sundays apart from Ndomenana? Because Ndomenana do have their own burials on Sundays. But the church will not allow it because it will coincide with the day of worship. In fact, I will tell you that even the church has restricted burial to some days, even when we claim ignorance of it. Churches have restricted burials either on Thursday or Friday. In most places, not in all places, in most places, they have put it that way. And probably because it affects A, affects B, there is lack of unity. Government may deem it fit to say, oh, since you have restricted it, some churches do Thursday, some do Friday, some even do Wednesday. Why don't we harmonize it? Maybe the angle the government is coming from. Who knows?
Okay, so let's now go to politics. Yesterday being the 10th day of May 2026, that was the last day for submission of political party membership list to INEC. And as we talk now, there is no official communication from INEC to confirm who and who were able to make the deadline. But from our assumption, people assume that what appears to be the main political parties now preparing for the election, that they might have made the deadline. But let's look at NDC that had their convention on Saturday in Abuja. South Africa convention, and what became significant was how they were able to arrive at zoning the presidential ticket to the south for 4 years. So by 2031, it's going to go to north. What do you think about that?
Well, the political party, remember, zoning is not in our constitution. It's not a constitutional thing. It's a thing of mind. But why they zone, that does not mean that it will preclude an aspirant from north from purchasing the form. Once that is done, the person may go to court and say he was denied. The person may go to court and complain that he was denied exactly what Student Abida did when he was asked not to buy PDP chairmanship form. And we saw what happened, and we saw the ruling of the court. The point is, it is within their right to have a principle. Zoning is a principle. It's not a thing of law. It's not a law. It's a principle. That is where the party is actually going towards. That's the aim of the party. And the party has said, for 2027 presidential race, it has zoned it to south. 2031, it has zoned it to north. That's what the party said. And I'm talking about NDC. Why? Because P2B has going around saying that he will go for one term. Many don't believe him because it's difficult to believe a politician when they make such statements. And there are those who have asked questions, would 4 years be enough for you to fix the rot? Can you fix energy crisis? Can you fix real crisis? Can you fix this? There's so many crises. Can you fix these things in 4 years? But I've listened to those who have been in support saying that even if he does not, he can lay the foundation. But remember, there were foundations laid that were never acted upon at Joe Kuta Steel Company. The foundation was laid by Cheo Chegari many years back. And in fact, the foundation, it wasn't even a foundation again, because there was a reconstruction to a point of about 90%, just for us to complete the 10% remaining. Since how many years? For over 40 years. That 10% was not acted upon, was not actualized. Somebody who did the foundation, did the fencing, did the roofing, did everything, just do the furnishing. Yet we couldn't do the furnishing. So, but that's by the way. But the point remains that whether he will be able to do that or not is another keg of palm wine. But he has said what he said, and the party has thrown his weight, saying yes, we have done the zoning, so it's no more his own thing that he will go for 4 years. That this time around it has been encrypted in our own party arrangement, but it doesn't say that it's not subject to change.
Now, from what you've seen so far, do you think that zoning arrangement is meant for Obi Kwankwaso?
Definitely, that was his like. You know, people have been asking this question, what's the arrangement? What has Kwankwaso agreed? Has he agreed to be the running mate and stuff like that? These discussions must have taken place before their defection to NDC. It must have taken place. Some of these things must have been concluded. So the announcement is more or less afterthought. Yes, these things have been taken care of. Kwankwaso wouldn't have joined if he had not been told that he was going to be the running mate, and he's going to be the running mate. Same as Obi. Obi has been told that he will be handed the ticket, and there is nobody challenging that. Remember, nomination, according to Supreme Court, is entirely political parties' affair. It is their business. but they must do it in a democratic way, in line with Section 84 of the Electoral Act 2026 as amended. It must be done in that line, because definitely that very day during the party primaries, they're going to choose consensus. Yes, it's not going to be direct primaries. They are going to choose consensus. So during their convention for presidential candidates, they're going to have another convention. It's going to be a yes or no vote. Yes, because even if you do consensus, it's going to be a yes or no vote. There will be vote, but it can be voice vote. So that is what you are going to expect. These things have been taken care of. And Kwankwaso has been told he's going to take over from Obi.
Yes. Now, from his reaction, he has thrown his weight behind what the party decided when it comes to zoning the ticket for the presidential election within the NDC to the south for 2027. That means anybody coming from any zone to contest under party outside the south might not be able to get that very clearance needed. In as much as you said, it can be challenging in court because it's not recognized by 1999 Constitution. But let's look at what this Kwankwaso B ticket can bring to the contest in 2027, because some people have pitched it thinking that it's going to be a winning formula. Initially, people thought that it was going to be ADC versus APC, but eventually everything has split, and we might have a reenactment of what happened in 2023, but this time around with small, maybe a little change. So now that we have Obi Kwankwaso likely ticket, what can it change if we're going to compare it to what happened in 2023?
Well, if you ask what is it going to change, I have said it many times that 2027 will be quite different from 2023. The two election periods are not going to be the same. Yes, Kwankwaso has influence, especially in Kano. During the last election, he amazed 1.something million votes, and 95% of those votes came from Kano. One time former governor, but arrangements have been made to divide his vote, because that's why Kabiru Yusuf, the governor, and the former governor Ganduje, they are working very assiduously to see that they take something off from Kwankwaso. Remember, Kwankwaso brought Kabiru Yusuf, who has now left him. Now remember, during Ganduje's second term, Kwankwaso was behind Kabiru Yusuf again. Kabiru Yusuf won the first round, but INEC declared it inconclusive. It was during the second round that Ganduje did what he did, because security operatives were used to disenfranchise some voters in places where Kabiru had dominance. And that was how Ganduje was able to win Kabiru during 2023 governorship election in that very state. But Ganduje was able to muster enough vote, not as if it was outright win or landslide. It was no landslide for Ganduje and Kabiru in 2023, even though we can lay claims to rigging and other things that happened during that election. That is one. Now, the idea is, even if Kabiru fails to win governorship election, or even if the president does not win, let the president at least have over 500,000 votes. Because if he has over 500,000 votes in Kano, Kano has one of his second most registered. When you talk about registered voters in this country, after Lagos, the next is Kano. If whichever way the president can muster about 500,000 votes, if with the influence of Kwankwaso, they will tell you that no much damage was done. Of course, they can add up from other states. The question is, we have 19 northern states. What is the influence of Kwankwaso in these 19 northern states? Outside Kano, has Kwankwaso influence in the 18 northern states? That's the question. But there are people that will tell you that Kwankwasia movement will spread in far northern states and begin the work, because you cannot predict, because whatever thing we are talking about is based on what we know already. We are not talking about the unknown. What we are doing is the known. In argument, that's what they call a posteriori, a priori, and a fortiori. So we are looking at it from the angle of known, not unknown, because anything can happen, because we leave that unknown for now. The question is, has Kwankwaso the influence to win in these 19 northern states? Because Atiku, yes, no matter how you look at it, because to be honest with you, Atiku winning about 12 states. He won some states in the southern part of the country. Remember, we said those states. And where he won in the north, those governors helped him. And there's no governor now with Atiku Abubakar. So if we can ascribe his winning to the support of governors in those states, yes, if you can ascribe his winning to the support of these governors in those states, as far back, even as far as Bayelsa State, I was told Atiku won there. Because the governor was in PDP. In Cross River State, he won there because the governor was... See, now no governor is with Atiku. Because if you say Atiku has influence, if you say Atiku... In fact, for me, let me say this thing. Some governors work for Atiku. So yeah, he relied on PDP structure already existing. Kwankwaso relied on Kwankwasia's structure to get the votes he had. Obi relied on obedience and some neutrals to get the votes he got. And in all of this, one man, his structure has left him. That's Atiku Abubakar. The very structure he had, he has none. For those who think he has influenced this, he has influenced that, he was working on some structures, and that was PDP structures.
So in essence, are you saying that it's something that might work for Obi Kwankwaso ticket?
It is gonna be between, the election is going to be between Tinubu and Obi. And for me, I've said it many times, Tinubu is primed to win. I'm counting off Atiku now. Yes, because I've realized that Atiku got whatever state he got as a result of PDP structures in those states. Now, and now you don't have PDP structures anymore.
Tony, let's look at this very fact. If you look at 2023 presidential election, I just want to give you a breakdown of the votes that were polled by Obi and the Kwankwaso in the geopolitical zones we have.
All right, please go on.
In the southeast, Obi polled 1.96 million votes. Kwankwaso polled 8,227 votes. If you go to North Central, Obi polled 1.42 million votes. Kwankwaso polled 60,056 votes. Then in the South, Obi polled 1.21 million votes. Kwankwaso polled 17,167. You look at the Southwest, Obi polled 847,423. Kwankwaso polled 16,644. The Northwest, Obi polled 350,182 votes, whereas Kwankwaso polled 1.27 million votes in Northwest. You know, the likes of Kano and Co, Kaduna. Then in the Northeast, Obi scored 315,107 votes, and the Kwankwaso scored 126,343 votes, meaning that Obi scored more votes in some northern areas than what Kwankwaso polled, and Kwankwaso is from the north. Now, if you're going to look at the state distribution, you will see that in many northern states, Obi polled more votes than Robbie Kwankwaso. Take for instance in Plateau. Or okay, let's look at this one first. In Plateau, Obi polled 466,272 votes in Plateau. Kwankwaso was polling 8,000 plus. You go to Benue, Obi was polling 370,000 votes. Kwankwaso was polling 4,000 plus votes. Let's even look at Kaduna. In Kaduna, Obi polled 294,494 votes. Kwankwaso, his backyard, he polled 92,969 votes. So, what do you think is likely to change? What do you think are the indices that are likely to swing things this time around? The senators we have seen, or National Assembly members we have seen crossing over to NDC, how much difference can they bring into this very equation?
Well, you just mentioned a very good comparison, if you ask me. And then possibly you ask what's going to change. But then the truth remains that, just like I said, the two elections are not going to be the same. But we are going to leverage in what we know already. And Obi, just like you said, may have shown some people said, of course, I've listened to some people say that he was rigged out and all that, and a lot of riggings, and they had no agents in many of these polling units, and he was able to get the ones he gets. But don't forget, just like I said, that a lot of things are going to change. Do you know why? Some of the things Atiku had before, they have all gone to Tinubu. And if you look at states won by Atiku, remember Atiku won Osun State, where Governor Ademola Adeleke, he was a PDP governor as at that time. And Atiku won with about 350-something thousand votes. Atiku is no more with Adeleke. So are you going to say that Atiku is going to win Osun State, where Adeleke worked for him to ensure his victory in Osun State? Atiku won Akwa Ibom State. He won Akwa Ibom State with over 214,000 12 votes or thereabouts. Governor Umo Eno was a PDP governor when he won, and Eno has since left for APC. Is Atiku going to win in Akwa Ibom again? Bayelsa State, Atiku won with about 68,000 plus votes, where Governor Doye Duri was a PDP governor. Is Atiku going to still win again in Bayelsa State, where the governor has gone to APC? You talk about Kaduna State. Remember, Atiku won Kaduna State, even when El-Rufai was the governor. This one state he won, with the states not being of APC. Yes, Obi had a good show in Kaduna State. You talked about Obi having more votes in Kaduna State than Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. Remember, the southern part of Kaduna, in fact, I've said it many times, some people are still arguing it. Kaduna has large number of Christians, but I don't want to bring issue of religion into this. It has large number of Christians. There are places, there are some records you will check, they will tell you that it's even 50-50, but there are those that will tell you Muslims are more in Kaduna, but with a slight margin. But that's to tell you that he has a large show. That's why they have been, or in the previous election, they do have governor Muslim, deputy Christian. We have had 3 times a Christian was even a governor. Atiku won that very state with over 554,000 plus votes. And he also talk about Kebbi, but we know very well that he won that state even when El-Rufai was there. But now the state is governed by Ubasani. Atiku won Kebbi, he won Sokoto. So the point I'm trying to make is some of the PDP structures apart from Kaduna State that helped him to victory, are these structures going to be there? Now, comparing their votes, you can even imagine that Obi, if you look at the spread, you mentioned the figures yourselves. If you look at Jigawa, for instance, I'm looking at some northwestern states. Let me take some northwestern states. If you look at Jigawa, for instance, if you look at between Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku and Kwankwaso, Tinubu came first in Jigawa State. Remember who was the governor? Badaro. With over 421,390 votes, Atiku came second with about 386,000 plus. Obi came third. But Obi vote is very, very, about 1,800 in Jigawa. And it's one of the far northern states we are talking about. Kwankwaso had about 98,000 votes. So you can see the influence of Kwankwaso, even though that is not much, but you can't compare Obi's 1,889 votes compared to Kwankwaso 98,000 votes in Jigawa. Let's talk about, we've talked about Kaduna. Yes, Atiku came first. Tinubu came second. Obi came third. Kwankwaso came fourth in Kaduna State in last election. And Atiku with 500 something thousand votes. But look at how Tinubu trialed him. Tinubu trialed him with 399,000 plus. Almost like Atiku won him with over 100 something thousand votes. So it was not a landslide.
So are you saying that in those areas where Atiku won in 2023, that in 2027 it could probably go the way of the ruling party? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's going to be a different dynamics. But I'm just trying to tell you the known part. I said we are not going to lay claim to anything unknown. We are talking about the known fact. If you look at Kano, for instance, how many votes did Obi get in Kano? 28,000 plus votes in the last election. Tinubu came second. In most states, he did not win. He usually comes second. That's Tinubu for you. In most states, he did not win. He usually in Kano, Kwankwaso got 997,000 plus votes. He came first. Kwankwaso, his home state. But guess what? Who came second? Tinubu. Tinubu came second with 517 plus thousand votes. Go to Castina, the home base of former president Muhammadu Buhari. Who came first? Atiku came first. Atiku won Buhari's home state. Tinubu came second again. Because if you look at the difference between Atiku's votes and Tinubu's vote, it's just very small margin. Atiku had about 489,000 plus votes, and Tinubu had about 482. What is the difference? About 7,000 plus votes. That's the difference, or about 7,000 yes plus votes. Obi had 6,376 in Castina, and the Kwankwaso had about 60-something thousand. So Obi came very little in Solo, apart from Kaduna State. I'm talking about Northwest. I'm not talking about North Central. I'm not talking about Northeast. I'm talking about Northwest. Because Obi should be concerned about Northwest. Northwest has 7 states. And they have when it comes to geopolitical zone, so the highest number of registered voters, Northwest.
Because this alliance, you're trying to mention where they have to do more work, because in the Southeast, it's like a given place where, he pulled the highest number of votes, almost 2 million votes. North Central, he did well there. South, he did well there. Then Southwest, marginally. But Northwest, Northeast, these areas where he lagged behind.
They should do more work in Zamfara State. Obi got 1,660 votes in Zamfara State. That's a very small vote. He should do more work. They should do more work in Sokoto State. Obi got about 6,000 plus votes. Even if the person is contesting, would you call it a House of Assembly election? He got about 6,000 plus votes. KB, he got about 10,000 plus votes. But Obi won. Kwankwaso got 5,000 plus in KB. So Obi defeated Kwankwaso even in KB State. Kwankwaso got about 5,000 plus. That tells you the influence of Kwankwaso. Has Kwankwaso that influence? Because if you look at some of these places we mentioned, he does not match that vote expected.
Okay, so let's now switch to what is happening in Rivers State, because 2027 Rivers governorship election is taking some shape. People who have interest to contest, they have gone for screening. And we learned that some of Wike allies were there. George Kelly was screened. Likewise, Andaman, I'm going to remember his name. He's also on the Wike lineup. Then Fubara was also screened. But what has been getting attention is that the fact that after Fubara went for screening, when he came out, in fact, the way the reporter was that he stormed out from the screening venue, and when journalists approached him for interview, he said no comment. And people are beginning to read me into it that things might not be going his way, Tony, being that 2 of Wike's allies are aspiring to become the next governor of Rivers State.
I thought that by now Fubara would have run to Hope Uzodinma. The only man that can make him have a good show would have been Hope Uzodinma. We saw how Hope Uzodinma submitted his form, senatorial form. Hope submitted his own, Imo West. Okorocha submitted his own, Imo West. I don't know if Osita is also the incumbent has also submitted his own. He has submitted his own.
Yeah.
In fact, that very Imo West is going to be the most heated context expected. And we know very well Hope is targeting Senate presidency. That's all. Yeah, he's not trying away. That's why he has, asked Emekoro to resign. And
can that be given on a platter, whereby somebody can be primed to become that, or is going to be based on what you are bringing on board politically?
It has always been based not what you are bringing on board, or based on your influence and the connection and the seats your party won. It has always been like that, not on what you are bringing on. The truth is, I know he must have had such conversation with Mr. President, and Mr. President has given him red light. If not, Mr. President wouldn't have intervened in rescinding the very illegal amendment made by Babio, because Mr. President asked them to resign that immediately. And I have said it the last time we spoke that he has been using Ochomole to perfect his plans. Ochomole is Hope Uzodinma's spokesperson. I don't know how both of them do it, because it was through Ochomole that he had the ticket to run for governor when Ochomole was the national chairman of APC.
So certainly in Yoruba State, the chickens have come home to roost at this point in time. So they are at the point of knowing those who crossed over and those who failed to cross over, because I got to know that by the end of the day, the list of those who passed the screening is going to be out there. And two other persons who are going for River State governorship under APC is former minority leader of the House of Reps, Kingsley Chima. He went for screening. Then we have Alabo Dakorinama, George Kelly. He also went for the screening. Then we now have Fobara going for the screening. So, do you see him scaling through this first hurdle?
Of course.
Wike has this rainbow arrangement.
Yeah, Wike has a rainbow arrangement, but the APC leadership, they are out to cut his influence in APC. I've listened to many of them. They've told him that you can do your thing, you can support Mr. President, but you cannot tell us what to do in our own political party. And he has not wielded that influence. I was told that he has also told some of his members to go to APC and run, because he knows that to run under PDP is dicey. Anything can happen. In as much as he has laid claim to the ownership of PDP, but he has told his supporters, his followers, to go to APC and contest. So who is he leaving PDP for? I thought he's
this very morning I saw a list of those who were cleared for House of Assembly position in River State, and from the report out there now, they're saying about 62 people who are aligned to Fubara were disqualified.
That's what I'm telling you. The point remains that he's a function of the screening committee. I don't know how he has been able to influence the screening committee, those people who are working with him. But remember, you have screening appeal committee. If you are disqualified from the screening, you can go to appeal committee and make your case. And I'm sure that these people who have been disqualified, they will be making their case to appeal committee. And I guess Fubara is also talking with APC leadership over the disqualification of some of his men and those who are with him. And I'm sure that discussion is ongoing. That's why they had an emergency meeting, and he has run to Hope to pilot his affairs. Hopefully, let's see what's going to happen.
So do you see the casualty of a man befalling him?
Anything can happen. This is politics. Anything can happen. Because right now, you can't just see Mr. President the way you would want to see him. Because Mr. President will tell you go out there and do what others are doing. But on the issue of disqualification, for someone like Fubara, he feels that you cannot in any way change the goalpost just to favor some people. Probably he wants the intervention of Mr. President. On what ground were those people disqualified? On what ground? Ordinarily, if you think that you have influence, allow everybody to go into the contest, into the ring, and let's see who has popularity. If that election, let me say this thing, I'm saying this thing unequivocally, if and only if that there is free contest in during the primaries, Wike has local government chairman on his own side. Why is he afraid? He has local government chairman. The last time Mr. President settled the matter, he was given this local government structure Wike is the one in control of local government structure in River State. But still, he's still afraid of Fubara. Because he knows why he's afraid of Fubara. Because he knows that the leadership of the party and some APC governors are with Fubara.
Okay, so we'll go for a commercial break now. Once we return, we're going to open the phone lines and maybe look into what is playing out in Imo State, where Governor Uzodinma has confirmed that he is in the race to represent his people. He said his people called him and he has answered. And this is a governor who still has many months to serve, because his tenure is going to expire in 2028, whereas election is going to be in 2027, and inauguration of the Senate is going to be also in June 2027. Perhaps he has a plan that he has hatched that is going to have him to transmute from being a governor and then becoming a senator. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Operiche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Vacancy. Ross Global Housing Estate is looking for smart male or female sales reps with a sound marketing and sales ability with a willingness to learn and grow faster. Apply in person at the corporate office, Global Pavilion, Kilometer 3, Mbo, Enugu Expressway, near 5-star New Pass, ATC House. For inquiries, call 080-3248-2101. Again, 080-3248-2101. Monthly marketing allowance and sales commissions, very attractive. It's your turn to shine. Be part of the progress team. Ross Global Housing Estate. We are global.
Nebek Real Estate brings you opportunity that grow with you. Greenfield Estate, Oba. Just 1 minute from Owerri Road. King's Court Estate, Idisa, opposite Admiralty University. Purity Garden and Classic Estate, Asaba. Just 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport. Ikenga Luxury Estate, Ojoto. 7 minutes to Electrical Dealers Market, Obosi. Nebek. Invest today, gain tomorrow. Visit us at 25 Oka Road on Nisha, beside Mandela, or Asaba Office 21 and 22, Brain Oil Mall, 295 BC Road, opposite Lion House, Asaba, or call us on 080-3265-7455 or 070-1607-8648 or visit us at www.nebekgroup.com.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:30 a.m. now. You're listening to the Polity. My name is Frank Nebek. Antonio Disambeki is on the analysis side. So we're going to open the phone lines now to get you involved in this very conversation. 0803-221-1059 6973 or 0803 827 6694. We can get across to us with any telephone numbers. Don't forget, we're also live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Honorable Victorio Lisambeki Obunia. The voice of Honorable the Mayor Okumejebi calling this morning from Awada. Can I go on?
Yes, you can go on.
Yes. Tony, let me start by asking you two questions. Number one, I want to know why you always insist that Tinubu will win P2B. Even in all the plans that P2B now and the follower of P2B now. This is number one question. Then, two questions I want to ask you too is like you said, you analyze well. But Atiku, the way things are going, it's all what some of them have left. Don't you think that we have another plan, even if when these people leave him? Then I want to ask, number three, did the NDC have structure? I want to know whether this NDC, whether they have good structure to protect the vote, even if people vote for P2B. Then what has now happened about this guy, Group? I think he's planning to become Senate president, but I don't think it will be possible because I know that Obi, I'm preempting that Obi is going to win this election. Right. Whether they like it or not. Right. Because the suffering in this country is too much. And we want him to come in and make amendments so that we will have a country that we will call our own and live a good life. Thank you and God bless you. I would like you.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. Okay, I try again. Please don't forget that you have a maximum of 2 minutes for you to make your submission. So I urge you, articulate your point so that once you call, you punch and drop your call. Good morning.
Wonderful morning to you, Franklin, Tony Sambeki. Good morning to our listeners across the globe.
Good morning.
I'm ringing from manager.
Go on.
Going straight to the point here, I think what every Democrat should be talking about is a free, fair, credible election. You can see that the INEC have extended the deadline to 30th of May. No longer 10 because of one man, Mr. Peter Obi. The fact remains that Mr. Peter won election according to some of the stakeholders, power brokers in the country. He gathered more than 6 million votes. The first time he contested the election without structure, without any governor, without anybody backing him up. So what we should be talking about here is free, fair, credible election. If Bola Tinubu wins, let him go into office. If Mr. Peter wins, if Atiku wins, let him go into office. We cannot continue with rigging of elections. And let me assure Nigerians, people should go and get their voters card. Because what happened in 2023 is just a tip of the iceberg. People is going to come out and mass. There are elections you don't rig. There are kind of votes that people will pour out for a particular candidate. You cannot be able to rig that election. So if those who are clamoring for President Biden is thinking of rigging of election this time around, it's not going to work. The US is giving their sacrifice on this election. They're interested. European Union is interested. Let me not talk about African Union because they are not just right to about. So these, countries are interested because of migrants coming from Nigeria, coming from Africa, to disturb them in their country. They want a Nigeria that can work. They want a Nigeria that can be fixed. They want a Nigeria that, will be removed from a country of a particular concern. They want a Nigeria that the Muslims will be free, the Christians will be free to worship their God. Not under this APC administration.
All right.
So all I'm urging Nigerians is people should go, get your voters card, get ready, and because it's almost around the corner. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, DK. for reaching out. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. You can as well join via our social media platforms and drop your comment there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
My name is Mr. Uzodinma.
Okay, sorry. I'm struggling to hear you very well. Could you be louder?
My name is Mr. Uzodinma.
Yes, go on, Mr. Gobike.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I said Mr. Uzodinma.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm calling from Nigeria.
Okay.
Please, from the results that you guys are making analysis with, is that the one that INEC released?
Of course.
The one that INEC released, the one that all of us know that was released. Hello?
No, you can speak for yourself. Go on.
Okay, so what I'm asking, we always talk about Tinubu winning, you want to talk about the known, you don't want to talk about the unknown. But at least you should have mentioned that unknown, those possibilities. Because just like I told you last time, a lot of people listen to him. And from the way he analyzes from the point of Mr. President. And that is why I say, because he always analyzes one that will be won. Saying that he will win, is he going to win free and fair, or he's going to rig it? I don't understand why he's going to win. Because if you check what is going on in this country, me and you know that people are suffering. And a lot of people don't want to. And their problem is, let Mr. Peter not be the ballot paper. But at the end of the day, he affect them. He's on the ballot now. So coming here every day to make analysis and telling you that Tinubu is favored to win. Favored to win by rigging or favored to win by free and fair. This is what I want to know from Mr. Tony. Thank you.
All right. So, okay. I think I'll keep it so later we'll respond to it. Hello, good morning. Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Thank you. My name is Ambassador Moses Rishin from Awada.
All right, go on, Moses.
Please, I have two questions, number one is it possible for someone to be a governor to be running for, senatorial seat when the governorship tenure has not expired, like that of Imo State? Is it possible, or is it constitutional? Is it allowed, or is it only in Nigeria that it can be done that someone is a governor now, and the tenure will be expired by around 2028, and he's already talking about how to contest for senatorial seat? So I find it, unlawful, but you people will know better than me. And number two, as the registration of this has started, because I may want to register this time around, because I'm interested in becoming a president.
Okay, so I'll just give you the answer to this.
So is it possible? Has it started, or where can I go and get my own?
The third
time
phase.
Around, I am
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Exactly.
Okay, do you want to register as a fresh voter, or you want to update? Which one do you want to do?
I want to register as a fresh voter, because the one I registered 2011. So I never collected it. So the people never came to give us something at St. Michael here.
Okay, hold on.
So this time around, I want to register as a fresh voter.
Hold on. If you had registered before, there's no need going to register again. Go and ask for your card. If you had done registration with INEC for voting any point in time, your data is there. If you go to register again, it's going to be a waste. So the best thing you can do is to go and ask for your voter card and get it. By the way, the third phase of the registration is beginning today, being May 11 is starting today, so the window is there for you to do that. So later, the second question is going to be addressed. Let's see who we have here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Holy St. Betty.
Good morning, your name?
Wanganga Wukoma. I'm reaching you from Navy.
Go on, Wanganga.
I had Tony always says the president will have an upper hand. Yes, he may be right because on his own understanding, 6 governors are with the president. But I want to ask how many votes is this 36 governors, which is 36 votes only. Soludo is the governor of Anambra State. He's backing up President Buhari, Tinubu. Does that mean that the whole Anambrians will vote for Tinubu? So he's not calculating well. Today, Siraki Dixon is the former governor and the leader of NDC in Anambra State. Do you think that Tinubu will come there and win because of the governor? Is he telling us that the people of Basa are not suffering what others are suffering? Let us give an analysis that does not look bad. Tinubu will not win this election. If we shall have free, credible elections, 99% of Nigerians are suffering the same thing, from the north to the west to the east to the south to the southeast, everywhere. Tinubu is going to face Nigerians, not governors, because I know that is where Tony is coming from. Oh, these people are with him now. The other people are with him. But 99% of Nigerians are not with him. Go to social media, go to normal media, print media. You see Nigerians lamenting. So how do he win this election? If not the same thing, rigging. How is going to work this time? Nigerians are awake now. Good morning.
All right. Okay. Good morning. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Dr. Tony.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Sylvester from Edo State.
Sylvester, right?
Hello.
Your name is Sylvester, right?
Yes, Sylvester from Edo State.
Go on, sir.
You see, I like Dr. Tony's analysis. You see, politics is not a game of emotion. And you see the way he analyzes. President Tinubu was not the president of Nigeria in 2023. And people talk about hardship, price of things. Do you know that the price of things in the north is different from the price of things in the south? Even in southeast is different from the price of things in Edo State. So, and most levies, the north, do not even, most people, the way they vote, the way they look at things, is not the way we southerners look at issues. People should know that. And secondly, like Edo State, for example, the Tabu won Edo State in 2023. I bet you, this 2027, I don't think he will be able to do that. People do not just say those. If you say Tinubu will win, they will just be looking from their own side of the. People say governors have one vote. This is a lie. Oh. Governors don't have more than, they have more than one vote. That is just the truth. But I cannot analyze everything to you now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
You're welcome.
Yes. I'm calling from Imo State.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yes. Mr. Tony, there are certain things you don't understand about politics. I am a politician. What Tinubu is going to get this time is a protest vote. Yes. 99% of Nigerians are not with the Tinubu this time. Nobody is happy. Those people that voted for that time, we vote for Obasanjo this time. There are many people who did not vote for Peter, but have to vote for him this time because nobody is happy. Hunger everywhere, killing everywhere, no good hospital, no short things that automatically change from what to what. So the vote people will get this time. This what is God? That is the type of vote you got. It will be very, very hard to reach. That's what I'm telling you. So don't let it, the house to be that, and how it was that last time, it's not how it's going to be this time. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
My name is Bafi Lugu.
Go on, Mr. Baza.
Franklin, let me be sincere with you. The analysis of Tony Olitambeki is just very facts. Sometimes our people play politics with their sympathy. And politics is not played by sympathy. As Obi is going to do well.
Does it make the platform, the political arena conducive for him? I think I want to ask you, do we have a strong opposition that can take power away from the current government? I don't know if you have a strong opposition. I don't even have a strong opposition, ADC, NDC, coming together, bringing one person that is going to fight Tinubu. That is exactly what we say that this election is going to be tough. I'm not seeing this election as a tough one. Why? Because the opposition has divided their votes. Everybody has divided their votes. And all the machinery that's supposed to work in this election is with the presidency. All the machinery. The machineries we are having for NDC now, NDC is trying to build up structures. Which structures are they going to use? The masses. The masses, the security apparatus, are the masses, are the INEC, what is the masses going to do with this election? I think that the police, the security is one, the INEC is two, and those things, the thing that contributed to election. It's not the votes me and you. Me and you has the upper hand, but those machineries that work on it is the way forward. If they disconnect you, you have disconnected. And I think Tinubu is having it. All angle. That's why he doesn't even bother. People that is scared. That man is not even scared. He's traveling from here to there. Because you know that he don't have any contest that. He's trying to put problems into the opposition political party. And he has succeeded in doing it. For other people, what we're doing is just trying to at least to mellow or the election has come and passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see if we can take one call and then get our social media platform. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Mr. Frank. And Mr. What I mean is that some people see OP as a messiah. Maybe that time when OP that was coming for election, people voted for OP because of the vice president. Because now everybody is saying that OP will do well because of one question. They don't remember that OP has a deputy governor, vice president before. So maybe people voted for OP because of the vice. So it will be a very hard election by me. Thank you. My name is Law.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Law. So let's quickly dash to our Facebook page now and see the reactions there. Ikechukwu says he's reporting from GRA Onitsha, and he says everybody's talking about 2027, but Tinubu is walking ahead of 2031 third term. That is... Okay, that's why he's looking for the new Senate president that will cement the game. And Nigerian people have gone... Okay, please, make me help us, okay? When you're writing, please just try to help us so that we'll be able to articulate what you have put out very clearly. Okay, and the question lesson says the truth is that it's not going to be business as usual for election robbers. Come to think of it, the party that has almost all the governors to their party, why are they still afraid? That means there is something that they are afraid of. But this time it's going to be a fight to finish, so I will advise the OB Kwankwaso to do their grassroots work thoroughly, especially in the north, and the outcome will surprise Nigerians. Okay, Celestine Nzakwe is the one who posted that. And Miracle Dochukwu says, if we are trying to unify burial on Saturdays because of engagement, Okay, so I'll just try to summarize what you are saying here. So he's saying that if we're trying to restrict burial to Saturdays, that means we also try to unify the days that people die. Okay, then Dandola says, okay, so he's calling with Tony about what he said about the chances of the incumbent winning the presidential election. Then Dr. Misimo Lebra from Ora says, our collective intelligence will not be abused. We must labor for good harvest and not inherent confusion and clear-footedness. We must charge up and work for the good of the succeeding generation and children in the womb of time. It takes intellect, self-confidence, and power to move a nation forward, without which we suffer permanent limitations, daydreaming, and becoming grounded. And then Chukwemeka Anthony is asking for education on CVR. When is it going to start and when is it going to end? So he wants us to get people to go and register, especially those in Onitsha North. Okay. All right, so it's good that you're talking about it so that people will get to know the importance of doing that. Ebenezer Bunna says he wrote from Newi, and he says, okay, he's saying that the analysis of the election based on 2023 election is because at that time President Tinubu had not been tested, but this time around he has been tested, and he's saying that he's going to lose up to 80% of what he got last time. Mbechiobi says he wants to appreciate the good work. Thank you. Chief Obi Steven from Germany says he said, I believe that most of the votes Tinubu got from the north was because of Buhari's influence. Today Buhari is no more and Tinubu's government has been terrible. In his own analysis, he might not get such number of votes in 2027 unless INEC performs some abracadabra. Okay, Gregory Thaddeus says he wrote from Asaba, and he said the votes that we are being quoted, we are merely allocated. The real votes we are not used in some areas, and that was how Mr. B was shortchanged, and he came forward instead of first. And he says the APC knows this, and that's why the party has been doing everything possible to frustrate him out of the contest. Steve O'Million, thank you. Then also Francis Ndamani says he's watching from Enugu State. He says, please, President Goodluck Jonathan should ignore the calls by some individuals or groups asking him to come and recontest for 2027 presidency in order to save his national and international reputation. Then Soccer Ike says, my take on this burial thing, Anambra State government should not force people to do burial on the mandate of the government. Rather, it should be for the community and the family involved, because I haven't seen or heard that the community or a family has forced any government official or disrupted any public order. I'm trying to be very quick so that we'll see how much you can accommodate, because I have plenty of posts here. Then Clement Kachi says he posted for monitor, and he says, okay, I don't even know what you're saying. Okay, so Desmond Chijoke Obodo says, okay, he's saying that he disagrees with Tony on what the governor said regarding the burial, and he says, to me, burial matters should not be a burden that deserves government interference. When there are more pressing issues, the governor should focus on for the development and welfare of the people. And he's watching from William Street. So, Michael Chael, Wilson, Master Bay, Okoyang Leka, Ebenezer Bunna, and others. I think at this point in time, we have to begin to respond to those things we have hanging. Lots of questions we are left unattended, so we start from there. And we're beginning with the question which was asked by Demeyo from Nobi. He said, why do you insist that Tinubu is going to win Peter Obi? That's number one question. And he also asked about NDC structure, whether the party has structure across Nigeria. Then somebody also called in to ask about on what ground do you think that the incumbent is going to win? That's from Igwebike. He asked the question. And then some other person asked the question about whether it's legal or constitutional for Governor Uzodinma to be contesting for senatorial seat while still being a governor. So, Anthony, let's see how we can address this within 3 minutes.
All right. I think somebody was actually saying, I didn't say Tinubu must win. I said that Tinubu is prime, is likely to win. It's more like a prediction. We are not the forces that are unseen. We are telling you based, and I said everything I've said is based on known. That I can lay claim to the unknown. And somebody asked, why do I think he may win? I think that's the word. One, incumbency advantage. I've said it many times. I'm going to give you like 7 reasons. I may think, or I think he may, that's the word, may because we are not going to be, Nigerians are going to be the one vote. Incumbency advantage. That is number one. Number two, control of federal government structures. It's going to control the army deployment, the navy, the air force, the police, even the DSX, every structure, even the money that will be deployed to INEC. Control of federal government structures. 3, strong nationwide APC party structure. APC has structure nationwide. You can't deny that. They have structure, grand structure nationwide. 4, support from many state governors. 5, his deep grassroots political network and strong influence in the Southwest. I have said it many times. In fact, I don't know, but the truth is, he has good influence in influence in the Southwest. Number 7, the vote that will be divided between P2B and Atiku is a division. No matter how you look at it, there will be a division of votes between P2B and what? Atiku. And number 8, financial and political resources for the election execution. To prosecute election, resources are involved in billions. Having said some of these things, because if you look at some of these things, you can understand when Tony says he's primed to win and all that, you understand where he's coming from, not because of any other thing. And let me say this, and I say this election because I may not tell you what you want to hear. Like, there are people that say Obi will win. I didn't come and ask you, why do you say Obi will win? Because that's their thought. And if I say the president may win, that does not mean I don't like Obi to win. It does not mean that. It doesn't mean, but I'm just trying to be factual. And when somebody controls the referee, controls everything, controls the structure, and we have seen from the past, and let me say this thing, people think that elections in Nigeria are won based on performance. I can't recall the last election won based on performance. Can anybody tell me the last election? During Buhari, we saw hell. We thought that Buhari would not win second time. We saw killings, we saw herdsmen everywhere, and at a point, we thought that the country would be Islamized. What happened? Some of these factors I listed made sure that Buhari won again. What about it? So please, the next question.
Now, somebody asked about Governor of Imo State, Uzodinma, who is contesting for senatorial seat, whether it is constitutional for him to be on seat and contest for another seat.
Of course, it is constitutional. Remember, Adamawa State, Atiku Abubakar has won the governor as Adamawa State, though he has not been sworn in. Obasanjo picked him as a running mate. Once you are elected, the only thing, you cannot take 2 offices the same time. But you can vie for one. You can vie for offices. He can be a governor and run for the office of the Senate for Imo West. But the truth is, before he will be sworn in as a senator representing Imo West, he must also have resigned. But to run for the election, it is constitutional. Nothing prevents him from running from the election.
Okay, so at this point in time, we have to end today's conversation, and we thank every one of you for all the inputs, all the dramas you have brought to the program. We quite appreciate that. In fact, if you check the premium times of this very morning, you will see a graphical representation of Uzodinma's road to Senate in 2027. Well documented, it's well stated. You can just look at the graphics and you'll be able to understand what they're talking about. So on that very note, to thank every one of you for joining today's conversation. Tomorrow is going to be another day. My name is Franklin Ebeka. Thank you, Tony Zambeki on the analysis desk.
Thank you so much.
Real music.